All right, y'all. WWE Crown Jewel 2023 is officially in the books. And my name is Lucas, and we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the highs, the lows, and a lot of filler overall in this show. So I'll get into it all. We'll go through, we'll talk about each match. Then I will talk about where I was wrong, where I was right with my predictions, and then we'll finally do highs and lows of the night and a final score for this pay-per-view from November 4th, 2023 in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, we'll get right on into it with the pre-show match. So I did not actually watch the pre-show match between Sami Zayn and JD McDonough, as I didn't get back in time from the gym. I thought they would do it at the end of the pre-show, and I guess they did it in the middle of the beginning. I heard the crowd really liked Sami, and he won, and I've heard it was a solid match. So maybe they should have just thrown it on the card, because it's kind of like a Raw match anyways. And, well, there's a couple other matches, or one glaring match that is definitely a shoehorned in Raw match on this card. So yeah, pre-show, I'm not going to give it a score because I didn't watch it, but good for Sami if he got a good reaction. All right, now let's get into it. The first real match on the card was the World Heavyweight Championship between Seth freaking Rollins and Drew McIntyre. They announced like right at the end of the pre-show that this would be the first match of the night, and I was like, oh crap, it's gonna screw my predictions, because I thought that Cody and Damian would go on first, and then Damian would cash in mid-match on these two. We did get a attempted cash in at the end, but yeah, that was one of my failed predictions, as you'll see. But I really liked this match. I thought it was hard-hitting for sure. The crowd really liked Drew McIntyre. Like, they were fully in Drew McIntyre's camp over Seth Rollins. Yeah, there was of course, people were chanting Seth's song, but it's just fun to do. If you've been to a live show, you know it's fun, even if you hate Seth. But they really were behind Drew McIntyre. He did the Ronaldo celebration. Of course, that got a kick out of the Saudi crowd, being that they now have Ronaldo on whatever team over there. I don't follow that. And we also got the mention that Rhea sent out a tweet before the match saying, "Good luck, boys," kind of acknowledging how she's trying to get both or either Seth or Drew to join the Judgment Day. So I thought that was fun. I like how they kind of tie in Twitter. You saw a little bit more of that because we even got Will Ospreay, who there's rumors that he might be coming to the WWE, commenting or tweeting about this match as well, and Seth responding. I think he just tweeted out like googly eye, like my eyes are on this, so that's cool. So we might see him here, maybe Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, who knows. There was a suplex that got countered. So Seth hit a suplex onto Drew off the ropes, and then Drew countered it into another suplex. And this was such a close 3 count that I swear I was like, oh my, Drew just won the match. He didn't, obviously. They kept acknowledging or saying over and over how Seth's back is hurt. And at this point, I think we get it. They don't need to just, his back is so hurt. It's so hurt. Yeah, we know. You say it every 10 seconds. We get it. The last 2 matches with Shinsuke, the back was the emphasis. We understand the back is hurt, but clearly it's not stopping him from defending his title. So a lot of close falls. I really liked the end. The stomp kick out by Drew after the curb stomp was cool. That was another close fall. A lot of close falls. I was like, ooh, almost. But Seth does end up retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think this is going to lead to a Drew McIntyre heel turn. Whether he joins Judgment Day, I don't know. I honestly think they should just have him turn heel without joining Judgment Day and just be like a solo heel act. I don't think Judgment Day needs him, and I don't think he needs the Judgment Day. But maybe they'll work together, kind of. I don't think he should actually join the Judgment Day. But a good high-paced match. The crowd was into it. Something they weren't always doing all night. I have my beef with the crowd. The Saudi crowd kind of let me down a few times. But we'll get more into that later. But I see a Drew heel turn coming. And then we have Damian come out as Seth has just won and attempt to cash in. I was like, cash in, cash in. I really thought they might pull the trigger. But no, Sami Zayn foils the plot and steals the Money in the Bank briefcase and runs off into the crowd with it. So as far as we know, Sami Zayn is now in possession of the Money in the Bank contract. I don't think he can use it, but that'd be kind of a cool angle, having Sami Zayn with the briefcase, and how he's like either keeping it or hiding it from Damian. I kind of like that. These cash-in attempts are kind of getting old fast, but whatever. Overall, solid match. I'd give this match a high B. I don't know how I'm doing ratings. Like an 8 out of 10, like an 8.5 probably. 8.5 out of 10, solid B. Okay, so on to our next one. So our next match of the night was the Women's Fatal 5-Way. And this is where I'm going to get my big gripe of the night off my chest. The crowd was absolutely terrible every time there was a woman wrestling or on screen. Now, I get it. It's their culture. Women aren't allowed to, like, can they drive over there? I'm not sure. But yeah, women are second-class citizens over in Saudi Arabia. And they didn't give them an inch. They didn't cheer. They didn't boo. They were just sitting there while the women were on wrestling. And they also make them cover up because, you know, these guys, they love to see Drew McIntyre in his undies. But God forbid we have Rhea Ripley showing any skin. Can't have that in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, they were terrible for both the women's matches. So kind of ruined both the matches, even though I think they were both solid because the crowd sucked. So yeah, if I was a female wrestler, I wouldn't even want to go over there. To be honest, the crowd doesn't give them any love, and most of wrestling is the crowd reaction. So yeah, I wouldn't go. If I saw the paycheck, I would definitely go. But yeah, kind of shame on that crowd for not even giving them. They didn't even boo Nia. They just kind of just sat there. But I'll get into the actual match because I think that the women made the best of a crappy situation having to go over there in the first place. Rhea's entrance was awesome. She had like some Saudi guys with like, I don't know, incense walk out, and there was some peaceful music, and then her theme hits and she comes out. She looked great. Definitely looks like the most dominant woman in the division, maybe the most dominant woman we've seen ever, if they kind of just keep on this rise. And I think having her inevitably win this match was smart. I was worried that they might flip the title for a month, just like, oh, well, the Saudi crowd isn't going to care who wins this regardless, so let's put the belt on Nia Jax for a month or something. But it was cool to not see that happen and just have Rhea win cleanly. There was no Dominic interference. He didn't even come out with her, so she won cleanly. There was some cool spots. Shayna Baszler got her moment where she got to put 3 of the women in a submission lock at the same time. I liked that. That was cool. So good for Shayna. Rhea and Raquel felt stronger than the other 3, I think. They didn't really let... I thought they were going to make a bigger deal out of Nia Jax being in the match. Like, they're going to gang up on her and she's going to start steamrolling her. She's just kind of there, which I'm fine with because I don't really like Nia Jax at all. Thank God they didn't put the belt on her because I would have been fuming. I just don't like her promos, and her in-ring work is mediocre at best, and that's when she's not hurting women. The finish was cool. I liked the riptide off the rope onto the other 2 women on the ground, and then pinning Shayna. I mean, Shayna can take the pin. She beat Ronda at SummerSlam, and I don't really see any of these other women making a big push for the belt. I think it's going to be Becky and Rhea. Nice to see Rhea win clean and look dominant. It's just a shame that the crowd wasn't in it, because it was a good match, and all these women are great at what they do, and they deserve better than a bunch of... I think there was like 3 women in attendance too. I was like, I don't even know if they're allowed. Looking around the crowd, I spotted a couple of them, but so whatever. But yeah, we'll go on to our next match. All right, our next match is John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. This one was surprising. It was Solo's PLE singles debut, which good for him. I didn't know that going into it. The Saudi crowd came back to life after the women were gone. We don't want to see them. We want to see our shirtless men. So they were hyped for Cena. They liked to see him. That was great. It felt like they were going to have John win, but that wasn't the case. The match was longer than I expected. I think it was about 15 minutes. It was back and forth. John got his offense in. It wasn't a squash match either way. Solo was going for punishment. He wasn't pinning John ever early in the match. He was just like beating him down, sending a message: you don't mess with the bloodline. You screwed up getting involved in this. I thought we were going to see Super Cena. We got the 5 moves of doom. He hit the 5 knuckle shuffle. And then he did not get an AA the entire night off on Solo, which makes me think this wasn't his last match, as some people are saying. He even hit a choke slam. They said it was a choke slam. It looked more like a rock bottom. And then Solo hit a rock bottom looking move too. So kind of a, ooh, look, the Rock. So that was cool. And then to finish the match, Cena gets Samoan spiked into oblivion. When I was taking my notes, I was like, oh, Solo's 3 spikes. And then I crossed that out. 4, 5. I think it was something like 15 different times he got hit with a Samoan spike. And then Solo eventually pins John. So I got this one wrong too. But yeah, Solo wins. He looks dominant. He looks powerful. I do not think this is Cena's last match. People talking about like his retirement. Michael Cole acknowledged him, and the crowd gave him a standing ovation. He didn't leave his boots or anything in the ring. I don't see this being his last match. John Cena's last match is not going to be in Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry. But we'll see. I think he'll be back for sure. Maybe he'll have a retirement match at WrestleMania. But this can't be his last match. Especially, he didn't even get an attitude adjustment off in his final match. Give me a break. This isn't his last match. I could be wrong. All right, our next match was my most anticipated match of the night, and that was Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. And this match was... I felt like I was a little disappointed because the pace was a little slow, but it was still good. Logan's entrance was cool. They had him out in the Saudi desert on a dune buggy, and then he drives into the town and into the arena, and he drives out onto the ramp. So Logan, cool entrance. Rey comes out, less tight entrance, just standard Rey Mysterio entrance. Logan hit a Warrior Press and Splash, kind of an homage to the Ultimate Warrior. I thought that was cool early. The start of the match was a little slow. There was like Rey was putting on a submission hold. Just kind of not what I expected from these two. I think they tried to mix it up because they have already had it was a tag team match, but they had a match at WrestleMania. So just mixing it up, trying to be a little different. I don't know if that was the best move, but the final act of the match saved that for it. We got a buckshot Larry from Logan, which he came down on his knees. Oof, God, I can't imagine doing one of those. But he didn't botch it like a CM Punk AEW buckshot Larry, so that was nice. He still hit the clothesline. And then I think the moment of the match was Logan catching Rey midair after Rey hit a springboard off the ropes, and it looked like Rey was going to crash on his neck and head, break his neck, or God forbid get seriously hurt. And Logan catches him and then puts him into a slam and moves. It was total like, dang, Logan, that was impressive. So props to Logan for being like aware and very professional, because like the number one rule in wrestling is like protect your opponent. So I thought that was awesome. So props to you, Logan, for being aware and professional and doing that and saving Rey from possibly serious injury or worse. So that was awesome. There was a fall away moonsault slam off the rope where they spun in midair. That was cool. The end of the match was sick. And then finally we have one of Logan Paul's goons come out and creep along the side of the ring and attempt to give Logan brass knuckles. The brass knuckles get kicked away, and then they're outside of the ring, and then Santos Escobar comes over and puts his foot on the brass knuckles and chases the other guy off, but then awkwardly places the brass knuckles on the apron of the ring. and just leaves him there. And then Logan Paul gets his hands on him during a 619 and finishes the match 1-2-3. Logan Paul is your new United States champion, which I'm a huge fan of because I think he's a great wrestling heel. Like, if you hate him in real life, sure, whatever. I've got no dog in the fight, but he's a great heel. So I'm happy that he's the champion. If they don't ever comment on why Santos just placed the brass knuckles on the ring apron, I'll have a bit of a problem with it. But I don't think it's too big of a deal in the in the long run. I think they're gonna do Santos versus Ray. Maybe we'll get a Santos heel turn, and kind of a collapse of the LWO. Maybe they gotta do more with Carlito. They've had him in a couple segments here and there, but use Carlito more. Make us care more about the LWO storyline, because you don't need to have a title involved to tell a good story. But yeah, that was probably my favorite match of the night. I would give it like a high 8. I realized I forgot to rate the Cena solo one. It's probably like a mid 7, but I don't know if I'm gonna rate all these anyway. So, but let's go on to our next match. The next match of the night was Bianca Belair versus Io Sky for the Women's WWE Championship. And once again, the Saudi crowd was just like asleep the entire match. Didn't care at all. So again, same problem as the Fatal 5-Way. The match was decent. It was good spots, high paced. They kept focusing on Bianca's knee, but the crowd, I mean, you might as well have watched it on mute because the crowd didn't do anything. And then finally at the end, I'll be brief with this one because it was pretty standard. I thought their Backlash match was better, but it helped that that crowd was into it. So again, crowds help wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan, like, cheer. I don't care if you don't really like the wrestlers, just get hyped. But I guess the Saudi crowds are different. I mean, they can't even drink at the events. Yeah, finally we had Kairi Sane return, which she looked great. She hits a wicked elbow drop. She hits an elbow drop off of the rope to hit Bianca after Io pins her. So Io retains. Again, you would have thought that Kairi Sane was just an employee who stumbled in because the crowd reacted. Literally, like, nothing happened. So the crowd was terrible once again for this match. But it's cool. I like what they're doing with the story now. Kairi Sane's involved. Bayley looked shook when Kairi Sane was helping out and working with Io, because that's a threat to her position as Io's like mentor and best buddy and damage control. So happy with the storyline. Match was decent. Crowd was terrible. Our next match of the night was Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. This match might as well have been on Monday Night Raw because that's what it felt like. This was basically on the card because, I don't know, whoever organizes the Saudi pay-per-views was like, we want to see Cody Rhodes. Okay, well, here he is, and you get a pretty standard Monday Night Raw Cody Rhodes victory. It was a decent match, but, I mean, go watch Raw last week or whenever the heck they fought last, and it was the same thing. The crowd did wake up for this match because there were no women. So they woke up again. Cody had a good entrance. He used up all the pyro. It was fine. Interestingly, though, I think Cody Rhodes knew how... I mean, he's probably watching the matches backstage, and he did give his weight belt that he gives out. I think he gave it to, like, one of the few women in the crowd. Granted, there's like 300 hands grabbing for it, but there was a woman there in the front, so I think possibly Cody was like, we got to get the ladies some love tonight because this crowd is not doing it. So that was cool. Props to Cody. Again, felt like a Monday Night Raw match. It didn't really feel like there was any motive to this match. It was just a match to be a match on the card. There was a table spot that was cool on the announce table. And then shenanigans ensued with the Judgment Day coming out and attempting to spoil the night for Cody. Finn arrives, distracts Cody. Cody takes a huge South of Heaven from Damian. That was cool. They got a lot of air on that South of Heaven. Dom finally comes out with a chair, and they're running in. Oh no, it's gonna be. And main event, Jey Uso comes out, super kicks Dom in the face, and yeah, then there was like 4 Cody Cutters. Cody Cutter is such a sick move. I know it's basically just like a modified RKO off the ropes, but it looks cool. It's got a great name. I love the Cody Cutter. He hit 3 of those, I think, throughout the match. And then his new finisher is basically like, let's hit 3 crossroads. So he hits his 3 crossroads finisher and wins the match. Again, glorified Raw match. I'd give it like a 7 maybe. Maybe a 6 just because it was like a Raw match. It was a good match though. It just didn't have any backing to it. But it is what it is. And yeah, so that was Cody Rhodes versus Damian. And now on to our main event. All right, our main event. The undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus LA Knight. Yeah. And it was good. It was a good match. The crowd loved LA Knight. Well, he wasn't a woman, so you knew they were going to like him. But yeah, they got hyped for LA Knight. They all had little signs with like LA Knight, yeah, I think in Arabic or something. That was cool. Roman comes out, and he's got an aura to him. I know he's barely on TV sometimes because, he's always on vacations or whatnot. But they do a good job at like making him feel like the champ. When he comes out, there's just an aura, and you're like, whoa, Roman Reigns is here. I mean, I know it wasn't there, but you could feel it even watching TV. And Roman did a great job at like playing the bad guy, super villain, unbeatable Emperor King heel in this. He was shit talking LA Knight the whole time. He got him in a headlock, and he was shit talking him. I like that. I love how Roman talks throughout the matches. Makes it feel more real, like he's really this bad dude. I like that. The match went on longer than I thought. They gave LA Knight way more reign to do what he wanted to do and just kind of like build himself up, even though he doesn't win the match in the end. They did a good job at like letting him look like a legitimate contender. Like there were moments in this match where it's like, oh, are they gonna let LA Knight win this? And I thought to myself, no way. But LA Knight's improving every single week. He looks better. There was no major botches. He looked stellar in the ring. I think this is LA Knight's best match ever. The stage, his opponent. I think this is the biggest LA Knight match that I've ever seen. Probably most people have ever seen. It felt like there was a chance that he might be leaving with the undisputed title. However, that wasn't the case, even though there was basically a moment where it looked like LA Knight actually got the 3 count, and then they put Roman's foot on the rope after it. That was probably a botch on either, I think it was Jimmy who put the foot on there, or the ref counting too fast, but I mean, it's predetermined wrestling, so the ending wasn't going to change regardless of if they actually hit 3 or not, but it was cool to see him almost get that. But yeah, they gave LA Knight a lot to do, and I thought he excelled in it wonderfully. I don't think this is going to be a long-running feud. I think that LA Knight has a very, very high chance of maybe winning the Royal Rumble and challenging for, if not Roman's belt, Seth's or whoever has it at the time. So very positive on that. But yeah, in the end, Roman Reigns does retain the Universal Undisputed WWE Championship as expected. And again, like, I didn't think this was a big enough stage for him to lose the belt. I honestly don't think that crowd deserved to see that moment, because that's got to be saved for WrestleMania, and the way they treat the women wrestlers, like, they don't deserve to see that anyways. If you disagree, whatever. But yeah, so that was the main event. All right, now on to our where I was wrong, where I was right with WWE Crown Jewel. Stole this from the herd, but whatever. So where I was wrong, I had Damian Priest cashing in and winning the World Heavyweight Championship. That obviously didn't happen. I also predicted a heavy bit of Dom interference, and I was happily wrong because we got a clean Rhea Ripley victory, and Dom only kind of helped out. Didn't even help out. He just got super kicked by by Jay in the Cody Rhodes Damian Priest match, and I even thought he might interfere in the Logan Paul Rey Mysterio match, and there was no sight of him. So wrong on there. I was also wrong on John Cena defeating Solo Sikoa. I thought they would give John a little pat on the back as they were hyping up that he hasn't won a singles match in 5 years. But no, he gets absolutely wrecked by the Samoan Spike. So I was wrong there. And I was also wrong on Bianca winning. Happily wrong. I thought that they were going to just put the belt back on Bianca because she gets more... she's a bigger draw than Io, but I think they did a really good job. If only the crowd was into it, with bringing in Kairi Sane and building up and bringing more interest, at least for us here in the States who don't mind watching women wrestle. Yeah, we got to see Kairi Sane return, new storylines there, so I was happy about that. And where I was right, I had Rhea retaining. Thank God they didn't do something else there, like Nia Jax win, so that was nice. I also had Logan winning, so that was a plus. And then I had Cody winning, pretty obvious, and Roman winning, I think another obvious one. And again, this Crown Jewel was not the stage where Roman Reigns was going to lose his historic title run. So that was where I was wrong, where I was right. And finally, our final score for the pay-per-view and our highs and lows. I thought the high of the night was either the end of the Logan Paul Rey Mysterio match, or I honestly liked the main event quite a bit. There was a couple moments where, like, with a 3 count and he still didn't get it. But it felt like there's a chance, LA Knight. So I would say my ultimate high of the night, I'm going to stick with it. I'll stick with Logan Paul, Rey Mysterio, the finish, and the fact that Logan saved Rey from serious injury was really cool. So that's my high of the night. And my low of the night was that Miz TV segment. I know it wasn't for me, and it was for, like, let's pander to the Saudi Arabian crowd and have some random Saudi Arabian movie star come out. So that was a bathroom break. So I won't even call that my low of the night. My low of the night will be the crowd's reaction to the women's matches, because there was none. At least boo. I mean, if y'all hate women so much, I guess you just don't even care. But whatever. Yeah, that would be my low, is just how the crowd reacted to some of the matches. I guess it's their culture, but I don't agree with it. So that was that. That was WWE Crown Jewel. I think overall, I'll probably give it a C. Kind of middling. It felt like filler. The matches were really good. I don't think there was a match that was a bad match. The matches are probably like a solid B. But a lot of the storylines didn't get progressed. I didn't feel like anything major happened that I was like, whoa. So I think Kairi Sane's return was cool, but I felt like that side of the coin was more of a D. So we'll split the middle and say that WWE Crown Jewel 2023 was a C. A C overall pay-per-view. Let me know what you think. What did you think of the show? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Do you think I'm dead wrong? Do you think I'm wrong about the crowd reaction? Maybe they just don't watch enough and that was their reaction. But yeah, that's that. Thank you for watching. My name is Lucas. Go ahead and like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And yeah, I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.